Wanafuse, wana SNS, ni DJ Smafuse #1 nikiripoti direct kutokea Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire. So tumekuja kwenye kitu ambacho kinaitwa kama AFROMED ambacho kimeandaliwa na AFRODAD. Ni nini AFRODAD? Ni nini AFROMED? Nipo na mtu ambaye ndio aliyesababisha haya yote yafanyike. Fide, do you prefer in English or Swahili? Which one do you prefer?
English.
In English.
Yes.
So, first of all, let's start with an introduction of yourself.
All right. Okay. So, thank you so much for having me. My name is Fidelite Shimimana, but you can call me Fide for the purpose of this conversation. And I work at the African Forum and Network on Debt and Development,
So that's
or
AFRODAD.
AFRODAD. Yes, and I'm the Communication Campaigns Manager in the organization. So that's what I do.
And I can say you're doing a fantastic job so far.
Thank you.
So that's AFRODAD.
Yes.
Now, what's AFROMED?
So AFROMED is the AFRODAD Media Initiative.
Okay.
It was born in 2021, and we had the desire because we looked at one of the key stakeholders we work with, which is media,
Yes.
and we asked, and we found out that they struggle with the #1, understanding public debt.
Yes.
They said at times it's very complex. We go on your website, we read, you can't really get what you're saying. So some of them felt like we need to understand a bit more on this conversation, this discourse. We want to AFRODAD to help us break it down. So that was a need about understanding. The second problem we got to know from journalists that some of them understand, actually they can read and understand what the discourse is about, but they don't know how to report it. They don't know how to make it make sense to people. They will put numbers like the country has borrowed a trillion, 10 trillion, but people might not care about those numbers.
So they used to do it was very raw.
Yes. Some of them will read a report from the IMF, a report from any other country, and they say, this country has borrowed again. They're like, guess what? Our country has borrowed another 1 billion. So, but people, because we are meant to also mobilize the people, they have to understand so they can help and hold their governments to account. But they don't care about those numbers. So that weakness in humanizing the debt discourse was the second challenge. The third is that some journalists actually understand the debt conversation. They're able to humanize it, but they lack freedom. They cannot get the stories out, especially sensitive ones on debt, on corruption, or on irresponsible borrowing and utilization of those funds. So that's the third challenge. They're like, we've got it, but you cannot, they are shut doors. We are stuck with a report, or when we report, we are harassed, we are killed, we are jailed. So now the third category of the problem that we found ourselves informed with, or briefed by the media. They said 3 things, and if you can help us overcome those problems. So that's how AFROMED was born, to #1, give the capacity for those ones who need it. #2, have discussions about humanizing for those ones who need that capacity. And #3, bring all of them together. And that's why we created a network called Media Debt Network, where they are all together right now. It has more than 100 members from 35 African countries. So one can say, I have this report. Can you air it from me? Because I can check and see you are free in your country.
Yes.
There are some who have like online platforms, so you can say, publish it for me.
That's very smart.
So because in my country, it can put him into trouble. So that's why AFROMED was born. It's now on its 4th edition. The 3rd one happened last year in Ghana. The 2nd one happened in Kenya. The first one was really virtual, but with physical, it was dispersed. But with it touched 9 countries, and we were able to reach 600 journalists in that AFROMED one. But we have been narrowing down so you can be able to also follow up. Because at AFRODAD we don't hit and run.
Yes.
Number one, yeah, we work with partners to deliver these events, but number two, we do not want to meet once and we disappear. So we continue interacting with our AFRODAD alumni. We continue seeking how we can work with them, how we can provide them with information, and also if there's an opportunity for some other learning openings, we support them to be able to continue strengthening their capacity in reporting on debt and related issues.
And honestly, I could say everything that you have said has impacted me. I've been reporting on these things, but the tools that I've learned on just day one and day two are very critical, and they'll be very helpful when I get back, because at the end of the day, I think you guys realize that a very fundamental part is the journalist, the way to deliver whatever you're doing. Because at the end of the day, it's like someone, let's say, you are a very good cook, cooking amazing food, but you're only doing it in your house.
Yes.
People don't know about it. It has to go out there in order for it to have an impact. And another thing you also mentioned, it was born after you guys asked around and realized you got the feedback.
Yes.
And I can attest to that, because yesterday, when Dr. Leila was giving her presentation, it was very well structured, and the tools that she gave us. So it came into my mind that we wish we had a toolkit whereby all these case studies for, let's say, AFROMED, we could have a segment in the website whereby there is a consolidated case studies of debts. So anytime any journalist or citizen or anyone wants something from different countries, from everywhere, consolidated case files, they can get it. So I just put it out there, and at the end of yesterday, we were asked people to come up with what our recommendation for toolkits. So it shows how much AFRODAD is listening and really cares about making sure this information gets there. So for how long has AFRODAD been since it was established?
So AFRODAD was founded in 1996. Yes, it's really at that point there was a debt crisis, and there was need for globally really, but because AFRODAD is Africa based, so there was that crisis and countries were really stranded. They could not repay their debt, and our founder went around the continent. So he went to country to countries, went to Uganda, Nigeria, Mozambique, Kenya, mobilizing people so they could have national debt movements and to start pushing from the ground. Because really, legitimate advocacy starts from the country level. Even in Uganda, we have a partner called TCDD. You know, these are baby of AFRODAD. You know, so they came together and they began now pushing to have debt relief, and that's why the debt relief was granted to countries what we call highly indebted poor countries. They got relief because of the advocacy of AFRODAD and other organizations that pushed and asked that there was cancellation for debt. So that happened. So AFRODAD has been now in place for 28 years.
Wow, that's
yes.
1996, I was still in Machakos. I was in primary school.
Machakos of Kenya or
Machakos.
Are you Kenyan?
I say I'm Kenyan because I've lived in Machakos, Nairobi, Kisumu, Mombasa.
Interesting.
Kakamega. So I was raised by a single mother, and she had 5 children.
Okay.
So she needed help with other relatives to raise us. So I went through all those, like in Kisumu and Kakamega, I was with relatives. In Machakos and Nairobi, I was with her.
Yeah.
So I've been there, I studied in Kenyan, that's why I'm very familiar with Kenyans.
Oh, I see, I see. And I like what so as you mentioned, I almost say I like, but as you mentioned, being raised by a single mother, you know, this is what we're talking about on how governments, especially when they have borrowed so much, they can't invest in social protection. And also at household level, women are left to carry even the government's burden.
Very true.
Because what they can't, if a child is sick and they can't take them to hospital, they don't figure it out. Nursing a child.
When Vanessa was giving her presentation, it was, I felt like she
Victoria?
was talking to me because I
Yeah.
lost 1 year when on my children. I could not go to school. My mother could not afford that. So she used to wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning, prepare mandazi, then wake me up at 5. We used to eat Mwanza. We used to live close to the masjid. I go and pray Fajr, then I come back. Then I sell the mahamri to kids who are going to school. So
and they go back home.
She used to struggle even so any decision that is made by the government,
Yes.
that impacted directly, because she has to buy electricity, she
Yes.
has to take us to school or buy clothes or buy whatever she buys. We'll have tax there.
I
so she
know.
will be literate. Whenever we are sick, I could see when we were young, she used to go to relatives and ask. Nobody likes to ask around, but and whenever I do my articles, I do it from the flip side. So I start with the consumer, then build it up back to that content, because I look at that content on how will it impact the listener.
Yes.
So what she was saying was amazing. I learned a lot, and I would like to personally, as Jesma, to extend my appreciation, because back at home, gossip content sells a lot. This kind of content, not very much. So when there's very few of us, and the way I do it very casually. Yes, but it has an impact. Now, coming to meet with the like-minded gives me relief that you're not alone. And having an organization like AFRODAD taking the initiative gives me the energy when I get back to continue doing this. So I would like to extend my sincere appreciation. So I am in a media called SNS, Simulizi na Sauti. It's an online media. And my segment is called Fuse. So most of my followers are called Wanna Fuse.
Oh, Wanna Fuse. Yes.
SNS. On behalf of them, we really like to thank you very much. We know it wasn't easy. One last question before. So how do you choose journalists? Because also people like to know how DJ Smart was selected
and
here.
not me.
What was your criteria?
All right. So thank you for that question. Also, I'm sure you're wondering, because right now we have 34 countries right here. So you're thinking, how smart are you?
How much time did you put
the whole process. So AFRODAD works with partners mainly, and we believe that our partners know better what journalists are doing on the continent. So they are able to tell us, we recommend this journalist because we feel like she or he is going to benefit a lot from this conversation. They're going to use it, because there are some people there are some who come and don't do anything. They just disappear. We don't know where they've gone. There are a few, but there are some, actually we're told from partners, this one, if you get them, they're going to use this knowledge. So we work with partners mainly, but there are cases where we also have countries where we don't have any partner. So, but a journalist is able to recommend. Someone from Ethiopia can tell you, I have a comrade from Somalia, and they give they give us contacts. We check their work. We see, oh, this one might benefit, and then we invite them. So it's mainly our partners, but also our journalists who are in the media. The media network I've already mentioned. Amazing journalists who are able to tell us. You know, last year I came, but I recommend this person. I recommend 2 or 3. We look at them. We look like yes. Then we call them. So usually those recommendations from partners and our own MDNA. It's called MDNA.
MDNA.
Yes.
And so the way I learned about AFRODAD was in Dodoma, which is the capital city. And one of your representatives, Ashfin, was there. She did an amazing job and talking about the loans. And I met her. We did a short interview. It was nice. Lastly, after extending my thanks, I'd like to invite AFRODAD, AFROMED, for the next session to come to Tanzania. You're most welcome. I also do these things and I'll help organize and everything. So AFRODAD and AFROMED are very much welcome to Tanzania.
Thank you. Thank you
for your time.
Thank you so much. And thank you for also accepting our invitation, because you don't take it for granted that you come when they come. It takes trust. Someone you've never heard about writes to you and says, hey, we invite you. Even though they are a recommendation, they know they have been recommended. it takes a lot of trust. Probably going to our website saying, they look legit, but now you can confirm we are legit.
Of course, we're more because everything from the way I remember after I've seen you were in contact with
Yes.
you, and very well organized.
Yeah.
You came to me on December, you briefed me that you're coming back on January, and you did so. And the entire process of getting the visa and what was going on, and the logistics, and the airport and transfer, the rooms, the place you're staying is amazing. I'm enjoying the food. So everything is legit. You're doing a fantastic work.
Thank you.
Keep it up.
Thank you.
Thanks you for your time.
Thank you.
So wanaFuse report kutoka Abidjan, huyu ndo ambaye anadili na masuala ya mawasiliano ya AFRODAD. Ametupa introduction ya AFRODAD imeanzia wapi pamoja na AFROMED. Nadhani mmemsikiliza. Tutakaporudi Tanzania nitafanya translation kwa wale ambao waelewa Kiingereza. Niko kwenye siku ya pili ya warsha. DJ Sma nikiripoti zaidi ya kilomita 2000 kutoka Tanzania. wanaFuse SNS. See you later. Thank you.
That was fun actually. Oh.
Naomba niishie hapa. Tukutane kwenye comment section. Unasikiliza kutokea wapi? Na as usual support yako inaiwezesha Fuse kuweza kutengeneza content na ina umuhimu sana. One love. Ili usipitwe na makala yoyote ya Fuse, unaweza kaingia kwenye WhatsApp channel ukafollow Fuse. Ukisubscribe, ukifollow, unakuwa unapata link directly ya matukio yote ambayo yanapostiwa na Fuse. Na kuwekea link kwenye comment section. Kiingia kwenye comment section, tafuta comment ya DJ Sma, kuna link ukibonyeza na kupeleka moja kwa moja unaunga. Na kwa wale ambao channel haikubali na maana WhatsApp yako huja update ile ikubali. It's your techie DJ Sma 255 hapa SNS. Unaweza follow on my Instagram DJ Sma 255, YouTube channel DJ SMA 255, Threads DJ Sma 255, Snapchat DJ Sma 255.
DJ Sma.